Here we go. Write down on top unit multipliers. We've done a little of this maybe. Maybe we haven't, I don't know. Here we go. Please don't ruin my board. Unit multipliers. Right, so much for the blue marker. Green or something here. The word unit should kind of give you an indication of what a unit multiplier is. In math, unit means 1. Okay. Unit multipliers are nothing more than fractions that equal 1 that we use to convert units of measurement, which I'm sure makes a lot of sense to you. The nice thing about this is this thing writes every time I touch the board, unlike the pen where it only writes 85% of the time. Okay? Now, you have actually, you will catch on to this relatively quickly. When you think about equal units of measurement, in other words, this, here is what a unit multiplier would be. You could say 60 seconds is the same thing as what? 1 minute. That is a unit multiplier because it's the same, 60 seconds and 1 minute are the same exact thing. So it equals 1. This fraction equals 1 because it's the same measurement over the same measurement. You also have the reverse of that, which is 1 minute over 60 seconds. Oops. Okay, that is a unit multiplier. This is a unit multiplier. You could do 12 inches is the same as 1 foot, or 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. Those are 2 unit multipliers. You could have, what else can we do? We got time, we got length. You could do 2 cups is the same thing as 1 pint. Or 1 pint is the same as 2 cups. Brandon, you were going to say?
Well, I was going to ask, like, what if there was 200, like, 2 minutes?
Two what?
Like, if there's 120 seconds, you just put it.
No, we're not. That's what we're getting to. We're going to get to that. That's the second half of the lesson. These are the unit multipliers, and we're going to get to how we use them, which is what you're talking about in just a second here. Any 2 measurements that are equal, you can use as a unit multiplier. You get to make up your own. You know, you could do, 364, 365. How many days in a year?
5.
365 days equals 1 year. Or 1 year equals 365 days. Struggling with that one. Okay, now, for those people out there in mathematical land who are lazy, this will come as a very difficult thing for you. Unit multipliers are more about labels than they are about the numbers. Okay? You are looking to cross out labels. That is key. If you get unit multipliers down, your life in high school in science and math will be much easier than if you don't. And let's start simple with this one. Here's how you would use a unit multiplier. For example, convert 270 minutes to hours. Okay. If you're a lot like me, you know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, right? So you know that you're either going to multiply by 60 or divide by 60, and sometimes maybe you get confused on that, just like cups and pints, you forget get confused whether sometimes you multiply by 2 or divide by 2. Does that ever come to anybody but me? Maybe it's just me because I struggle with math. Here is why unit multipliers are good for you. And here are the steps. Step number 1. Okay, the first thing you do is write down the given measurement and put it over 1. Write down the measurement and put it over 1. Which means I just do this. I was given 270 minutes. And again, don't just put 270, you have to put the label there, over 1. Okay? Step number 2 is to think of or find the unit multiplier that has both measurements from the problem in it. By the way, the instructions are much longer than the problem will ever be here. In other words, this. The 2 units of measurement I'm using are minutes and hours. So I just have to know the unit multiplier that converts minutes to hours. For example, where is it? Oh, we don't have it. What is the minute to hour conversion there? Lucas, it is
60 to 1.
60 what? Minutes is
1 hour.
1 hour. Or the flip-flop of that, which is 1 hour is 60 minutes. Okay, these would be the unit multipliers that would apply to the problem we're going to do here. How do I know which one to use there? And this is the important thing to do here. You need to pick the one, and this is where I talked about crossing out labels. You need to pick the unit multiplier that crosses off the label. That crosses out the unwanted label. Oh boy. I kind of like writing with this thing. If we could get like a hybrid of this and that thing, that would work a lot better. Here is the deal. This sums it up for you right here. So here's my starting fraction. I want to change minute into hours. So I am going to multiply. I should have put multiply here. I'm going to multiply by the unit multiplier that will make this label minutes cross off. How is it, when do things cross off in fractions? Jeremy? Yes, when it's diagonal, when you have the same thing on top as on bottom. So in order for me to get the label minutes to cross off, it needs to be on the bottom down here. Well, if I have minutes on the bottom, what has to go on top? Hours, because that's my unit multiplier. And then I just fill in the blanks. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. That's my unit multiplier from down here. And then you can just do the problem. Do the multiplication. But the first thing you're going to want to do is cross off the labels that cross off. What crosses off? Minutes. What labels left? Hours, which is what I want my answer to be in. Then I just have to do this math. 270 divided by 60. Well, what would you do? You could cross off the ending zeros. 6 goes into 27. 27 over 6 reduces down to what? 3 goes into both of them. 9 over 2. And 9 over 2 is what? 4 1/2 hours. You could leave it as 4.5. You could probably left it as 9 1/2. But that's unit multipliers. And you're going to say, yeah, I could have done that on my own without unit multipliers. And I'm going to say, yes, you probably can. But the concept there, this little thing here that we talk about crossing out labels, when it gets to hard problems, it's going to be a piece of cake if you just kind of understand this. For example, let's do this. If I asked you to convert, how much time do we have left? If I asked you to convert 1 year to seconds, If I asked you how many seconds were in 1 year, okay, here is the beauty of the unit multiplier thing. Check this out. Let's go with green. I'm getting too low here. I might have to sit in my chair. Using the rules that I have here, it's going to take more than one step, but this would be, I take the unit I'm given and put it over 1. So I take 1 year and I put it over 1. Now, I don't have a unit multiplier that goes from years to seconds. So I have to take it step by step. I can change year into days, then days into hours, and then hours into minutes, and then minutes into seconds. But watch how nicely this all kind of works out. Well, the first thing I do is I change my year, put year on bottom because it's on top over here, into days, right? And I know there are how many days in a year? 365. So now my years cross off, and now my answer is in days. It's 1 times 365. Well, now I need to convert my days and turn them into hours. How many hours in a day? 24, thank you, whoever just wants to say it. Now my label days cross off, and my answer is in hours, 24 times 365 times 1. Now I cross off my hours and put it into minutes. How many minutes in an hour? 60. So now my hours cross off, and I've converted my thing into minutes, and then I do minutes on bottom so that it crosses off with the minutes on top, and I put seconds on top up there. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. My minutes cross off. My answer is now in seconds. I'm not going to do the math, but to get the answer, you'd have to multiply 365 by 24 by 60 by 60. 365 times 24 times 60 times 60, and my answer would be in seconds. And then you can figure out how much money Bill Gates makes per second, because that's not that many, is it? I should do the math just because. No, that's not. You kind of get the gist of that? See, I'm running out of space here. Take a look at page 52, will you please, with me? I'm sorry, page 355. Page 355. Are you with me on there? Yes, Mr. Hahn, we are with you. We did example number 2. Look at example number 3 because it's a little different type of example. Example 3 says Daniel is buying refreshments for a meeting. He wonders if 4 quarts is enough for 30 students. Is 4 quarts a reasonable amount of juice for the meeting? If not, suggest a more reasonable quantity. How would you know if 4 quarts of juice is enough for 30 students? Well, you'd have to figure out how many ounces would 4 quarts be? Would you know, is a gallon enough for 30 people?
No.
How do you know? Why not? Juice you don't pour in very big cups. You would want to change 4 quarts into ounces because how big is a cup? How many ounces are in a cup? 8. So if you figured out, I mean, a cup, is that a reasonable amount per person?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that 30 times 8. Okay, that's like 200. You need somewhere around 240 ounces. Is 4 quarts? How many ounces is 4 quarts? And that's where unit multipliers would come in handy here. Here's your 4 quarts. What am I going to change quarts into? Pints, right? How many pints are in a quart? 2. Now I've changed it into pints. I'm going to change pints into cups. How many cups are in a pint? 2. Now I'm going to change cups into ounces. How many ounces in a cup? 8. And again, if you don't know those, they're in your book somewhere, I guarantee you. Or you could find them somewhere, or ask somebody for them. You should have a list of them if you don't know. Mr. Gallon is over there. So this will tell you how many ounces you have. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 times 8 is what? 128 ounces. So that's not going to be enough juice if everybody gets 8 ounces. What would you suggest? How much would you get for 30 people? Probably 2 gallons. Probably would be if everybody's going to. However, in our gluttonous American society, when was the last time you just drank 8 ounces of anything? We get the super big gulp that's 128 ounces of stuff when you go to the thing. How much is this right here? 8 ounces. I believe this is a cup right here. 8 fluid ounces. And you go, that little bottle? That's all you want me to drink? I only get to drink this little bottle here? No. Give me the big 16-ounce bottle. How many gallons would you have to have for everybody to have 16 ounces? You're going to have to get 4 gallons of whatever for 30 people. That's ridiculous. And if you want everybody to have a super big gulp, you're going to have what? Like 10 gallons. That's not right. What time does this class get over? Well, let's look at example 4 and then we'll stop here. Oh, example, that's a good one there. Samantha drove 100 miles in an hour and 45 minutes. How many hours did it take for Samantha to drive the 100 miles? So, they are asking you to do what? This one's kind of a corny one in my unbiased opinion. They want you to do this. I know. They said it took, Samantha, is that a girl? Yeah. They want you to change 1 hour 45 minutes into hours. Which means, what are you going to have to do? You already have this part in hours. You need to change the 45 minutes into an hour. How do you change 45 minutes into an hour? Well, I'm glad you asked because you need to use unit multipliers. What do I put down here, Johnny? Minutes. What goes on top? Hours. Labels cross off. There's 60 minutes in 1 hour. 45 over 60 reduces down to 3/4. So you take the one you had up there, add it to the 3/4 there. 1 minute 45 seconds is 1 3/4 hours. I don't like that example, but we're stopping there so I can maybe fix my computer. Who's the praying person today? Not Kala again. She's what?